Hey, I'm Gary.
And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
WWOCA,
This is WOCA, News Talk 1370.
This is James Snyder, inviting you to join me each Sunday morning at 9:30 for Sunday Joy on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to show my age a little bit, but I want to do this to tell a little story. I grew up in New York. I know most of you know that, and I had some friends up in New York. This is, 70s or so, and I had friends who were in music and doing bands, and I was among them. And they were all trying to be the Beatles, pretty much. They were all trying to be the Beatles. So recently I reconnected with some of them on Facebook. Hey, oh gosh, I haven't seen it. And they're still doing it. And,
oh my gosh.
And I feel like saying, holy mackerel, I mean, you're lying to yourself. Mm-hmm. Your ego is making you lie to yourself. You're never going to be John Lennon.
Yeah, right.
You're never going to be. And then I saw this book, and I said, wow, I kind of saw this in some friends. And then, of course, the book made me look inwardly and say, oh, wow, well, maybe I'm guilty of this too. Dr. Bennett Poliget has written this very, very insightful book. It is called Stop Lying. Get unlost and unstuck in your life. Dr. Poliget is a psychologist. He testifies frequently in court. Expert witness. Wonder what he does in court. You're lying to yourself. He tells people, right? He's an actor too and a singer, so maybe he can relate to some of that I was just saying. Good morning, Dr. Poliget. How are you?
Oh, good morning. Am I on?
You are on now. Yes, sir. How are you? My name is Larry, by the way.
I'm sorry?
My name is Larry.
Hi. So about your friends in the band?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Important distinction we should make. They're probably conscious if they're lying at all. They're probably aware of it. They say, I know I'm not the Beatles, but I want to believe it.
Oh, okay.
Important difference. The book's about unconscious lies.
Okay. Let me start off with where are you? Where are you calling from?
Your old hometown, New York.
Oh, are you? Because Robin said there was some construction in the background. I don't hear it, though.
Yeah, well, God bless the new software. I think the machine, these phones are now detecting it as white noise and filtering it out.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, really?
It's loud here, so if you're not hearing it, great.
So if we're lying to ourselves and we're not conscious of it, how do we find it? How do we figure out which lies?
Catch it. Good question. That's the tricky part. Can I back up first and explain what I mean by this lying thing?
Yeah.
I should probably define it because, of course, people hear the word lying and they think, of the things that, a kid does when he says, I didn't eat the cookie, but he's got crumbs all over his face. I'm talking about things we're not aware of, and I really want to be clear about this. It took 20, 25 years to make this clear to myself, but it really is this true and this simple. All the things that bring people to my office, and I mean all of them, anxiety, depression, irrational fears, worry, obsessing, relationship trouble, domestic violence as victim or perpetrator, substance abuse, have at their core that we're lying to ourselves. And more important, when we can't stop the problem, when we can't get over it, when we've tried therapy and tried workshops and tried self-help books and friends, it's because there's an undetected lie.
Really?
And the great is that when you catch the lie, then you get unstuck. The symptoms go away. It really does work that way. But you're right. It's unconscious, so how do you see it?
Okay, and forgive me if they're dopey questions, but I'm trying to zoom in on this. is it different for men? Do men tell themselves different lies than women tell themselves?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, there are a few little quirks, but I find that men and women are more similar than we tend to think they are. When you look at the things people torture themselves with in relationships, it isn't a whole lot different, really. It sounds like it's more women who say, and again, these are unconscious usually, if I don't meet and marry Mr. Right, there's something deeply wrong with me. It's a very common belief, and it's often buried because it's also very kind of politically incorrect. Women really don't want to believe that they still feel that way, but a lot of people do. But I find, as I talk to men, when you really dig under whatever the surface problems are, they have a similar belief.
Really?
It's a little more acceptable for men to be single and old, but still there tends to be that belief. So no, I don't think there's a lot of difference.
And is the lie sometimes placed there unintentionally by somebody else?
Oh, yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
I'm so glad you said that because I forgot to say that. Yeah, it's lies that we're telling ourselves, which often are things that we were told and we've come to believe when we were much too young and naive to question.
Okay.
And these lies get in at an unconscious level. And there's a lot in the book about that because a very young child, doesn't learn things in words like we adults do. They're not conscious of learning. They simply soak it up.
So if you hear a parent saying to a child, you're never going to amount to anything, then that child is perhaps going to believe that, and that's a lie. On the other hand, if you hear a parent saying to a child, you're so great, you're going to be the president when you grow up, that could be a lie too, and that could create an ego that's a little bit unreasonable. You bet. In fact, you have just hit the first paragraph of chapter 1 of the book. I started off with a case of a 15-year-old girl with a few neurologic problems whose parents told her a very well-intentioned lie, which was, you can do anything. And it's a very quick 3-paragraph case, and it kicks the book off, and it shows the damage that lie did. Now, the parents couldn't have been more, well-intentioned with that, and they were great parents. I met them, and they were very loving and worked very hard and found her all kinds of special programs and took wonderful care of her. But because of the combination of that unintentional lie and this particular girl's personality, it turned into a poison that got undone in therapy, thankfully. So how do we tell our children that we support them without going overboard? Would the lie have been not a lie if the parents, in her case, had said, you can do anything but maybe not earn money at it?
Within limits.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good question. The problem with that is that we're talking in generalities. I was thinking about this a few days ago because there is one kind of kid and one context in which you might say you can do anything you want, and it would be nothing but positive. If you think, for example, of the old movie Dead Poets Society, Ethan Hawke, I think that was his first role, and he played this very mousy, timid, inhibited boy. If he had heard that from some powerful mentor like his parents, it would have been encouragement. He wouldn't have. That's the kind of kid who wouldn't have believed, oh, that means I can be a ballet dancer even though I'm physically clumsy and I'm fat. You know, he wouldn't have gone unrealistic with it. If you tell another kind of kid that same thing, some kid who already is a little bit grandiose, a little bit high on himself, you could see that might do damage. That might make that kid less able to tolerate the guaranteed frustrations that life is going to give him. The class he's not good at, the teacher says, no, you can't have that. The program he doesn't get into because he's not academically strong enough or he's not artistic enough or whatever it is, he's going to be the one who's going to have more trouble. Same lie.
Wow.
So it really depends on the kid. It depends on the context.
But then you have mentors, though, to help people along, because then maybe there might have been a mentor to that person, and then if he wanted to go into the arts but he really wasn't that good at it, maybe the mentor would see it and slyly move him around to a different direction where he loves whatever it is and is very successful at it.
That would be great. That would be ideal, yeah.
But I want to go back to the problems that we have because of the lies and how they disappear once you recognize them. Maybe you can tell us an example of somebody who that happened to.
Sure, and I was thinking about that. giving a background to a person takes, unfortunately, a long time, and I know these interviews are short. I'd like to use a movie, because most people have seen it, and that's Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
It's pretty popular, yeah? And even if not, I can describe it very fast, because it's a movie, so the case is simplified. It's a hyper-genius level kid whose father was physically abusive, and he's still living in the ramshackle house that he grew up in. If you saw the movie, you know how depressing that house is. It's a mess, and he's never done anything to fix it up. He's got a very constricted, inhibited life. He's only friends with this close group of kids he grew up with. He pushes away everybody who might help him move on in his life. He pushes away every possible opportunity to enjoy all of his talents. The pretty pre-med student who takes an interest in him has to really sort of chase him before he'll dare to ask her out. And then once their relationship gets going, he pushes her away, again, because he's afraid. So what are the lies in this kid? Well, it starts with a very common one, especially for us boys, which is, I ain't scared, to his father. And that, because he said it so many times, became a lie that was unconscious. It became something he really believed. So when you meet the kid in the beginning of the movie, he's a tough kid. Beats people up, he's getting in fights, pushes all authority away, talks bigger, knows more than everybody. Unfortunately, this kid actually does know more than most people, so it's a difficult defense to break through. But that's the first one that the therapist, after several therapists are destroyed by him, the therapist that Robin Williams plays, breaks through that lie in that wonderful scene. Now, this is Hollywood. It doesn't happen like this in real therapy. He sits on the park bench with the kid and says, I thought about you last night. You think you're so smart. You think you know everything. All you've done is read books. You don't have any real experience. You don't really know anything about life. So the kid and he form this relationship and begin talking, and that's the first of these layers of lies that gets broken through, is not everybody is an idiot who's just out to destroy him. There are people who might help him, like this therapist. So give it a shot. So he does, and in the climactic scene, which always happens in these therapy movies, when the big lie is uncovered, and audience may remember, that's when Robin Williams keeps getting in the kid's face and saying, listen, all that abuse that happened to you as a kid, it wasn't your fault. And you may remember the kid keeps going, oh yeah, I know. But he doesn't know, and the therapist knows that he doesn't know, so the therapist keeps saying, no, it wasn't your fault. And gradually the kid breaks down, sobs, he's racked with tears, and pretty much that's the end of the movie. Right after that, he's fine. He jumps in the car that his friends have bought him, he quits his menial job and goes across country to chase the girl that he had chased away, and we presume, moves on with his life and accepts some of these amazing offers to train and do work, out in the world using his genius. Now, again, that's Hollywood. It's a little more dramatic, but that really happens. And my book is full of examples of that kind of breakthrough, when you simply become aware of the lie that you're telling yourself. In his case, it was, oh, I ain't scared. I know all this already. I know my father's a jerk. I know that. When you catch that as a lie, two things happen. One, the truth rushes in, which is he didn't know it's a lie. He really did believe that it was all his fault, and that's why he lived such a depressed, inhibited life. And then you change. The change happens. It does happen kind of like that, kind of magically. It's wonderful. It's kind of, therapy can be a slow process, and those moments are the ones we all live for.
Well, why I think your message is so important, I'm going to tell you a personal story that you just made me realize. Maybe I've known it before, but it applies to this. I had a sister. My sister died. My sister was 7 years younger than me, and she died before she was 50.
Yes.
And maybe 10 years before she died, she let the family know that when she was 11, she was raped by our cousin. Okay, and he told her, according to her, that she should never tell anybody because he would kill all of us if she did. And so
this happened when she was how old?
She was 11, and she told the family about it probably in her late 30s or so. Okay, so from 11 until 30-something, nobody knew this had happened. But once we knew it, we looked back at her life and we saw the choices that she made, and we said, "Oh my gosh, she's been with a few not so desirable men. I mean, she's been with some guys who abused her. Not all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, she had a couple of really good guys in her life too.
Yes.
And in fact, the two that I'm thinking of that she had really good relationships with. Well, one she was married to when she died, so that. But the other one, she kind of chased him away, and he was a good guy too. And so the lie that she was told is that she deserved whatever he did to her, that she was nothing more than a sex object, that she was, not worthy of anything. And I think that's the lie that you're telling me that she must have told herself.
She must what?
I'm thinking the lie that she told herself was based on that one experience.
Yeah, and I'll give you another one. Now, this is, of course, very presumptuous of me because I don't know your sister, and I just heard about her for a minute. But said that she had gotten into a bunch of relationships with abusive people.
Right.
Now, usually people who are doing that are aware that it's happening and that they, if they had a girlfriend who was being beaten, they'd be the first to say, break up with the guy.
Right.
So why would your sister have done this? And one thing that frequently happens with people who have had experiences like your sister, unfortunately, is that rather than remember the original betrayal and the horror of it and the fear and that this guy was going to kill her whole family, and it would be all her fault because she told.
Right.
Rather than remember that, except at a superficial level, like maybe she remembered the facts, people, again, this is all unconscious, people turn their attention to a less unwieldy, in some ways more easy to tolerate horror in the present, like this abusive person in front of me. Plus, there's a sense of, well, if I can just figure out how to make this work, it'll be okay. And in many ways, it's hard to explain this if you haven't experienced it, but as horrible as that can be, it's much less painful than, again, to go back to Good Will Hunting, think of the kid when he's racked with sobs as he faces how he really believes it was his fault that he was beaten.
Wow.
That's harder to face than... I'm sorry?
I'm just going to take a break right now, but I was telling the audience the book is called Stop Lying, Getting Unlost and Unstuck in Your Life. Dr. Bennett Pollaget is on the phone talking about his book, and I imagine that the book will be the starting point for a lot of people, and it will probably lead them to seeking a psychologist that could probably help them, or a therapist. Let me take that break before we run out of time, and then when we come back, we'll continue this and find out how we can get the book. We will be right back. This is The Source, WOCA.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident on this Monday. Intervals of clouds and sunshine with a shower or thunderstorm in spots this afternoon and this evening. Today's high 90 to 94 and partly cloudy and warm later tonight, low 73 to 77. For Tuesday and Wednesday, partly sunny with a shower and thunderstorm in the area each afternoon. The high tomorrow, 90 to 94. Wednesday's high, 89 to 93. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
You can't put it off any longer. It's time to replace your home's AC system.
The answer is ACEsolvesItAll.com and an exceptionally efficient AC system. Let the pros at ACE show you how you can save on energy monthly and give your family added comfort. The great thing is that ACEsolvesItAll.com is on call 7 to 7, 7 days a week at no extra charge.
For a limited time, mention WOCA and get a special discount.
Call 877-765-4ACE or ACEsolvesItAll.com.
What do you love most about July 4th weekend? Is it the food? The family? The fireworks? Well, this July 4th weekend, add one more word to the list. First, as in the first Coke Zero 400 at the world's first motorsports stadium. Everything you love about the holiday gets a huge upgrade at the all-new Daytona. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Coke Zero 400, powered by Coca-Cola. Saturday night, July 2nd. Guarantee your seats at 1-800-PIT-SHOP or DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Think you know NASCAR? Prove it. And you'll be entered for a chance to win tickets to the Firecracker 250 and the Coke Zero 400. Every day between now and June 24th, we'll be giving you the opportunity to call in during the morning show and the afternoon show to answer trivia questions about NASCAR and Daytona International Speedway. All callers will be registered to win, and on Friday, June 24th, we'll pick the winners for one of the most exciting nighttime events of the season. So tune in to win right here on The Source.
Got a garden, and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
All right, 7 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. In the break, I had a chance to think about so many different things that Dr. Polizzi has kind of stimulated my thinking a little bit. And how do we lie to ourselves? The book is called Stop Lying. Do we lie to ourselves about being immortal? Like when we're younger, I'll live forever.
Right.
Or do we lie to ourselves when we get older, thinking that nobody cares about me anymore? I'm old. But those are conscious lies, aren't they, Doctor?
You want to hear an interesting quote I just read? Some wonderful writer, I wish I could remember who it was, classic writer, somebody who studied in high school, who said, the second greatest surprise of my life was getting old. So I was with you because I said, oh, yeah, that's a lie I'm aware of, I'll live forever. But in fact, I have a feeling it's going to slap me in the face just as it does all of us. I think we lie to ourselves that we actually, oh, yeah, I know I'm getting old, I'm over that one. Kind of like the kid in Good Will Hunting. Yeah, I'm over that father stuff. I know that he was a jerk. I know it wasn't my fault. The tricky question you ask, because you're saying, do we lie to ourselves? If they're unconscious, so we're not really going to know them. You have to detect them kind of like we detect black holes in space. You don't see a black hole, you just see the effect it has. The gravity's effect on other things.
Do you know, one of the things I think might be probably a controversial one to bring to the table here is that I think sometimes our religions lie to us. I think, or at least the teachers of religion. I don't know if the actual doctrines do, because I don't know enough about them. But I do think people sometimes lie to themselves about, I guess, what they think God is like, and it's based on their religion.
Well, who knows who God is? When we all get there, I guess we'll find out which of us knew, which of us didn't.
Well, here's
what I think somebody lying to themselves might turn out to be the truth when it comes to religion.
Oh, absolutely.
Get there.
You might have been telling yourself. Yeah, I know. But I always say this. I always say, you don't know.
Okay.
Almost everything I say, I believe, because I don't know really much.
Well, that's a wonderful point. Yeah, when you're talking about religion or anything that we don't have actual proof of. One of the great lies, yes, teachers in general, experts in general, sometimes make the mistake is to present to us as if these things are known. And of course, they're not.
But
some things are known, some things aren't. If you go to the best, I had a bout of cancer about 5 years ago. It turned out to be minimal, and I'm okay. But it was quite scary at the time, and I remember the doctor, because I did my homework. I went to a lot of different doctors, and the one that I picked is, among his other assets, he was very clear about how little is actually known. He didn't give me any false hopes or any false, sort of reassurance that he's the pro, because there's a lot that isn't known.
That is interesting.
And I agree with you. Religion's like that too.
Yeah. Well, before anybody thinks I'm studying religion in general, I'm really not. But here's how everybody can kind of understand what I'm saying. If you think about the cults and the kids that get recruited into these cults, and there's a cult leader like the guy Jones down in Guyana, was that right?
Yes.
Think about those guys, and the lies that the followers believe. I don't think that's what the book is, though. So I apologize for going on a big old tangent there.
I'd love to. I don't really have the chutzpah to do it, but I'd love to write the next book, which somebody is already working on. I already read pieces of it, about how ISIS and Hitler Youth and all these things work. And they work by what you're talking about. They grab kids at their testosterone-filled age, when they're most desperate for leadership and guidance and full of hormones and energy, and they tell them, this is the truth. And, of course, nobody knows what the truth is.
The thing I would like to leave the readers with is this, that we probably all, if you look at the book and you read what Dr. Polizzi is saying, you will see yourself in here, and you will have to be the one who figures out which lies you need to deal with. So the book will help you with that. I have a copy of it. Call me if you want the copy that was sent to us. You are welcome to it. It's called Stop Lying. The rest of us, however, have to go buy it. And, Doctor, give us a website or a way to go buy the book.
Sure. Well, you can go to my website, which is aboutpsychotherapy.com. That's one word.
Okay.
You can go to Amazon and type in my name, which is Bennett Polizzi. If you type in Stop Lying, you'll get 100 titles. You'd have to type in the whole title, which is Stop Lying, Getting Unlost and Unstuck in Your Life.
Oh, okay.
The quickest way is to go to my website. If you go to Google and type in my name, that'll get you to the book too. But basically, it's on Amazon.
What is the biggest lie you've told yourself?
It's on Amazon. You can get it in Kindle or hardcover or softcover.
What is the biggest lie you've told yourself?
Oh, dear. I have told myself I probably won't discover that for another 20 years. But probably it's the same one as the kid in Good Will Hunting told. Probably very similar to that. It was, I'm fine. I got this. I'm not scared. Crap.
Gosh.
Or, you know, the big one for us boys growing up in school is, you know, oh, that didn't hurt. You know, that person who insulted me, that didn't hurt.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So there is a difference between boys and girls. You kind of just illustrated that a little bit because that is a boy thing. And girls, the pretty thing has got to be a big lie. You know, guys are always going to want the pretty girl. It's not always the truth. You know.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, you're opening a nest of vipers, can of worms.
Yeah.
Big ones. The things that young girls get caught up in is horrible.
I love the conversation. I love the conversation,
right?
Doctor. I'm sorry, we're just against the clock, but I loved the conversation, and I can tell you're a very deep-thinking guy. Thank you for being on the show with us today, and I'm glad
thank you very much for having me.
I'm glad your phone could filter out the construction. I didn't hear one jackhammer. So
amazing. I have a computer expert patient who tells me all this stuff.
All right.
It's amazing what they're doing.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. The investigation continues into yesterday's mass shooting in Orlando that left 50 people dead, including the gunman, and 53 injured. Sheriff Jerry Demings praising response teams that had to deal with the gruesome scene.
Many of them saw some carnage that they would never ever see in any other location.
It also seems clear the gunman specifically targeted Pulse nightclub, which caters to a gay clientele.
It's in the city proper in an urban residential area. It is not near the theme parks or even in a downtown entertainment district. The man identified as the shooter, Omar Mateen, lived about 90 minutes away and would not have randomly encountered this nightclub.
Fox Radio's Evan Brown in Orlando. Microsoft says it's buying the networking service site LinkedIn for more than $26 billion. LinkedIn has more than 430 million members who use up